The Disney Fairies of Pixie Hollow franchise has been influencing our culture and economy since its release of the first Tinkerbell movie in 2008, and before then with its Disney Fairies book series. But can their influence be dated back to prehistory, before the existence of humans? Our team here at Realist Incorporated has been doing extensive research to find out. Since the dawn of time, the world of Pixie Hollow has been making its mark on history, starting with the extinction of the dinosaurs. It is believed that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid hitting Earth 66 million years ago, but recent theories say that that asteroid was really the same green comet that awakens the Neverbeast every 1,000 years. The Neverbeast is described by the best animal fairies as a hybrid of Dipelphis marsupialis and Bison occidentalis, which are the names for the common opossum and extinct species of bison.
The Neverbeast's purpose is to protect the world from an aggressive green lightning storm by collecting the lightning with the help of 4 towers built in each of the 4 seasons of Pixie Hollow. But opossums did not exist until after this event 65 million years ago, and bison did not exist until 130,000 years ago. So who protected the world from the storm? No one could. And that's why dinosaurs are extinct.
After the extinction of dinosaurs, a new dominant species roamed the earth: humans. At this time, humans survived on a hunter-gatherer system of acquiring food, which could not take place without the help of garden fairies and animal fairies providing plants and animals for survival. But another kind of fairy made a contribution to prehistoric life that would change history forever: fire. Fire talent fairies showed the earliest anatomically modern humans how to create fire 125,000 years ago. The only known fairy being Nessia, introduced in the book A Fairy's Fire from the Disney Nevergirl series, published in 2016. 113 years following this, the human race experienced a shift from a hunter-gatherer society to an agricultural society, with the help of fairies of the garden, harvesting, and rice-growing talents. These changes characterize what we historians like to call the Neolithic Age. Other aspects of the Neolithic Age include pastoralism, or the raising of livestock with the aid of animal talent fairies. Also, a change from nomadic lifestyles to settlements and the emergence of the first civilizations. The region of which this took place was called Mesopotamia, or the land between 2 rivers, the 2 rivers being the Tigris and Euphrates. The Sumerians at the time were the most predominant occupants of this area. They were well known for inventing one of history's earliest writing systems, but historians neglect the existence of fairies and their system of leaf lettering, which uses a different kind of leaf imprint to represent a letter. Historians also claim that cuneiform is isolate, meaning it developed completely on its own, but those who have studied leaf lettering note that the fairy alphabet does not have a symbol for X, and if you compare it to that of the cuneiform symbols, there is also no X character. This leads one to believe that the Sumerians really derived their writing system from the fairies.
Later on, in approximately 2000 BCE, China invented silk with the help of lace-making fairies. It is said that the wife of Yellow Emperor Li Zhu was having tea under a mulberry tree when a silkworm cocoon fell into her cup of tea and unraveled. She found that the strands were very strong and when woven together make a soft and silky-like cloth. This is no different from how the lace-making fairies of Pixie Hollow used spider silk to make cloth very similar to that of Chinese silk. When there was still peace between humans and fairies, fairies were not afraid to approach humans and give them ideas for improvement. This process is called by us fairy historians magical intervention, and it is done through the use of fairy magic on humans. Jumping forward into the next time period, fairy influence can be found in the ancient Greek Empire of the Mediterranean. The Greek Empire is divided into city-states. Historians have explained that is due to geography. This division of population is almost parallel to that of the division of Pixie Hollow. According to the film documentaries, the 4 seasons coexist at all times in Pixie Hollow. Fairies of different talents get sorted amongst the 4 seasons depending on their talents and where they would be most useful. For example, frost fairies would go to the winter woods, flower fairies would go to the spring valley, harvest fairies would go to the autumn forest, light fairies would go to the summer glade. Another thing the Greeks adopted from the fairies is the Olympics. Though the fairies called it the Pixie Hollow Games, the structure of both is very similar. Competitors representing each city-state or talent guilds come from all around to compete in a series of events as an opportunity to show off their skill sets. The fairies use it as a way to unite all of Pixie Hollow, while the Greeks use it as a way to assert dominance over rivals. A large part of the Greek lifestyle is the production and everyday use of olive oil and the attending of theaters. The Greeks most likely invented these with the help of olive pressing talent fairies and performing talent fairies.
The Abbasid Caliphate in present-day Middle East was well known for its advancements of Greek astronomy. Light fairies are naturally born with the understanding of constellations and are expert navigators, and both the Abbasids and light fairies work together to map the skies and invent many navigational instruments, such as the sextant and astrolabe. The Italian Renaissance was a period of artistic rebirth and the revival of many Greco-Roman art styles. Types of art included painting, sculpture, and music, all of which got their start with a lot of magical intervention by art talent fairies. Fairies of the art talents, such as Bess, a painting fairy, and Quill, a sculpting fairy, are said to have worked hand in hand with many famous Renaissance artists. Bess worked with Leonardo da Vinci on the Mona Lisa and many other of his works. Since da Vinci is known for accomplishments in so many different fields, the only explanation is because many different talent fairies intervened on his work. Music was also a large part of the Renaissance. One large change was the many instruments either invented or improved upon. Instruments have a sounding similarity to Pixie Hollow's traditional instruments, such as the drum, flute, and trumpet.
The Indian Ocean Trade Network was primarily dominated by Islamic empires who created the Lanterne Sail, which allowed the sailors to navigate the monsoon winds. These winds were created by the fast-flying fairies such as Vidya. This was slave labor employed by the Islamic Empire, which helped advance domestic society because they were now able to control the winds. The Industrial Revolution started in around 1820 to 1840 and was primarily caused by the availability of natural resources in Great Britain, like coal mines, lumber, and rivers. Mining fairies helped children collect coal from mines with the help of their anatomically smaller rings. The invention of the steamboat with the intervention of boat-making fairies helped humans transport the resources. The fairies also experienced industrialization with the incorporation of lost things into their preparations for the changing seasons. The revolution was caused by the arrival of a fairy named Tinkerbell who turned out to be a very strong tinker talent. Her skills earned her permission to travel to the mainland and change the seasons from fall to spring. It is theorized that the mainland is really Great Britain due to the accents and behaviors of who the fairies called mainlanders, such as Lizzie Griffiths. The British Industrial Revolution caused mass leisure culture, which is characterized by the enjoyment of recreational activities among the population. Mass leisure culture was also achieved for the fairies, which resulted in the creation of games like Water Ball, Seashell Tiddlywinks, and Acorn Ball.
Resistance to British imperialism was aided by the fairies. This was because the fairies wanted to get revenge on the British for their extortion of fairies. This was depicted in the Disney documentary The Great Fairy Rescue, released in 2010, where Dr. Griffiths, who was an avid wing collector, wanted to use Tinkerbell's wings for his collection. The behavior of Dr. Griffiths shows how the British wanted to extort the fairies for their beautiful wings. These events caused the fairies to want payback, so they aided Mohandas Gandhi in the famous Salt March, where Gandhi marched across India, picked up salt, and took a pledge to resist the British. This was helped by the salt sifting fairies, making the salt for Gandhi to pledge.
Though the fairies have enriched the lives of the people and animals throughout history, they have also caused many painful experiences that have caused the destruction of human society. The tsunamis of Japan have a detrimental effect on the people and were caused by the rulers extorting the fairy culture. Also, the people mocked the fairies and tried to use them as slave labor. However, the fairies retorted and caused a tsunami like the one seen in 2011. The ice ages were also caused by the preparations for spring coming late.